one of the episodes, and this goes way back, of when you and D'Andra were talking about the whole cheating stuff. Do you wish, because I was looking at some of the fan boards of going like, God, I wish you would have pulled her to the side off camera and said, listen, 2 friends approached me about your man. I heard these things. Is there a reason why you chose to do it on camera versus pull her to the side and let her know?
I think this is the thing. When I joined the show, Leanne said, you have to be opinionated, you have to tell, what's really happening, and you have to be able to talk about the hard conversations. And I said, well, is that regarding you as well? Does that mean you're off the table? And I think she thought I was going to be her doormat and protect her from everything. If you want to dish it and you can't take it, that's a problem. When the cameras were rolling is when all this kind of happened. So yes, I could have pulled her aside. At the same time, I want people to understand what is in it for me doing this. She can be one of the most diabolical people when she's angry at you. I mean, what do I have to gain, people? Really? Oh, you think this is serving you? You think this is, helping you? No, it's not helping me. I was doing it because I was concerned. Okay, you want to get married? Great. I'm glad that you're happy. I'm glad that you want to get married. There are some concerns and issues. I didn't lay them all on the table. I was very kind with how I said, is he faithful? I asked one question and I said I heard rumors. I never gave any information. I never said he was cheating. I never said he had 3 girlfriends. All of that came out of LeeAnne's mouth.
Right.
And not from me. I was a caring, concerned friend. And unfortunately, that's when we were filming and that's how it had to come out. Because once you start having sidebar conversations off camera, your show goes to hell. Goes down the tubes.
That's right. So you were following her instructions.
I was following her instructions when I got on the show, and I don't understand why she really wanted me on the show, because she knows I'm opinionated. She knows I'm not going to put up with anybody's bullshit. So, and not hers either. I mean, I'm not going to put up with false stories or pretense. I'm going to call things out, even in my own life. I mean, I make mistakes. Yeah, I did that. It's kind of embarrassing, but I did it. So
right.
Whatever. I mean, look at me in Mexico. My Spanx were showing everything else. I mean, I didn't realize we had a van or that we were in Mexico. Okay.
That Mexico trip, I mean,
it's one of those things. Is I practice for my life the same as I expect from my other cast members. So if Jeremy or my mother, if something was happening, I'm putting it all on the table. It's online. You think it's easy for me to talk about my finances?
No.
Last night, Leanne tweeted, I could live on $60,000 a year. Well, that's right, but you don't have to pay 4 employees on $60,000 a year. That was the conversation. It's, yes, I get $60,000 from the trust, but I can't run a business. My rent's $7,000 a month. So this is, in the office that I couldn't get out of. But
right.
there's conversations around business that I was trying to have. It's not about living on $60,000 a year. It's about how do you make a business go, rebrand a company, be successful with a startup with a finite amount of money, and not being able to have a loan, because you got to understand, my mother owns my home. She owns my car. She owns everything in a trust.
Right.
So I own nothing. On paper, I don't have anything. I mean, it's all done to protect me. And I understand my prenup probably could reach the ceiling here. But
right.
My poor husband, he's like, I'm not even going to read this. I'll just sign. So.
I mean, is it hard to be attacked about the money? Because I'd be like, get off my dick, everybody. Like,
it is, because I've worked since I was 14.
Right.
And I worked folding sweaters at Express. Okay.
What did
I
you
worked
want
in college at the admissions office for money. I mean, I wasn't just sitting around
right.
eating bonbons, loafing the whole time.
No,
I was working during college, during high school. I've always had a job. I've always been a hustler. I've had 3 and 4 jobs.
I know. You sound like a worker bee. Did you respond back to Leanne yesterday?
Well, it was on the show. So. I mean, it was on Watch What Happens Live, so I kind of had to.
Okay.
Andy's being shady. So I said, well, Andy, what I was talking about is that I was trying to run a business, and $60,000 a year to run a business and pay for 4 people's lives and their children. You can't do that. I mean, that's maybe what one employee would make. And I want to make sure that everybody's taken care of. When I had to let people go, I was in tears because I knew that they had children and I knew that it was going to affect their lives. And I'm a compassionate boss like
right.
that. Yes, I have to be a boss bitch, but I also have to make the right decisions. But I care for these people. They worked for me for years. I used to have 13 employees. Now we're down to 2.
Right.
It's
Good
hard
for you to cut it down, right?
And I didn't even take a paycheck this month.
I
so
know.
I am really, really trying to make it happen. It's going to happen, but I've made the sacrifices, and pointing out something that's like really just silly.
Stupid.
I mean, yeah, it's just,
Do you think petty. You and Leanne will be able to ever make up?
I don't know the answer to that question, because this season I went in and really tried to say and do the right things, and I cleared my conscience because, yes, I was upset at myself because of the way things happened. And maybe I should have not had that conversation. But
Well,
once
you
again,
said sorry, and then she didn't invite you to her bachelorette party.
I invited her to my birthday because I felt like it was the right thing to do.
Correct.
It was kind of scary because it was a roast, but nobody seemed to roast me. I was really hoping. You would have roasted me.
I would have roasted.
Jesus. I was
So
like, God, somebody roast me.
you didn't invite you to her bachelorette party, or I forgot which one.
Right, so nothing.
So did
so
that
far.
did that like hurt your feelings?
At the time, we have been so kind of push and pull, and there's been so much animosity. And no matter what I've done, it's always apologizing to Leanne is like this. Okay, if Deandra would do this, then I'll be okay. Well, I'll do that, and then it's the next thing, It's like, trying to, how many tricks do you have to turn to get to the point where it's going to be okay and you're going to be my friend again? And at some point, I have my own dignity, and I'm not going to do that anymore. I will say I'm sorry, and I will, ask you to lunch or text you or whatever. But then there's always going to be another condition.
Right.
If you place conditions on friendship, that's not a friendship.
No, it's not.
So it's like a marriage. You can't do that in a marriage either.
You can't, or any real kind of relationship.
So I don't know, Jenny. I don't know. We still are in a rocky place. Leanne was a dear friend at one time, and I've seen her become a different person than she was before this show. That's kind of the...
So she's changed. There's a transformation from the Leanne pre-filming Housewives of Dallas to this new Leanne.
And I think a lot of people, and you would know this better than me, when they get a little taste of fame that gets out of control maybe. And I don't know. I'm not like that because I appreciate every single day that I have this opportunity, because I was acting since I was 4 years old. And even though this isn't an acting job, it gives you somewhat a similar kind of feeling. And it's so exciting. And every person that says, I enjoy watching you on the show, or I love you and your mom or your husband, it makes me so excited. I don't take anything for granted.
Right. And what was her personality trait? Like, what don't we know about Leanne before that is her personality wise that is now this Leanne?
She was always bold, but she was so fun and lighthearted, where now she's so serious and she can't take a joke. So I do a lot of comedic things because I love comedy. It's my favorite thing in the world. And when I was acting, I loved comedy. So I bring in a lot of that this year, and I have podcasts, which is more comedy too. But she can't take a joke. If I make fun of her, it's like a nuclear disaster. I mean, it's like I'm ruining her life again. And before, she could laugh and joke with me, but she's lost that. I don't know why. The seriousness and the darkness has kind of come over her, this cloud. And it makes me sad, because the person that I would laugh with and we would have fun. And I remember when I got married, we had champagne in the Baptist church. And, it was like funny. We were laughing. It was all over the place. And the pastor's like, oh, it's time to pray. And we're like, oh my God.